Maybe we can pull it up a little closer.
Yeah.
We are live.
Hey.
So, hopefully the volume is good for everyone. I've been super excited all week to have this conversation with my friend Kristen. How did we come up with this whole conversation or delving into this? It was kind of surrounding how we both been in relationships with narcissists, and we are the codependent usually.
Yeah, I think that's how we started off.
Hey Rachel. Hey Pam. Let me know if the volume's good, Rachel.
We were probably talking about sex or something.
We were probably talking about sex.
Okay. Not kidding. We were talking about how as codependent people we attract narcissists and men who are not any good. And
yeah, well, I don't want to say that the men aren't any good. I think that we all have we all have, I think, narcissistic and codependent tendencies in all of us.
Oh, yeah.
So
I've been both. So
we don't want to really make anyone the bad guy or the victim here, or at least I don't.
No.
But I mean, a little bit of background for me, I've really only been in 2 serious relationships, and the first one was very abusive. It didn't start out that way, but it ended up being very physically and mentally abusive. And the second one was just me sort of being in this codependent relationship where I felt like I couldn't leave because that was all that I had, and I couldn't imagine myself without that person. So there's that codependency coming in.
For me, it was, I'm gonna fix this person. I see their light, and I'm gonna make them better by being in their lives, and that's one of the definitions of codependence is you are more worried about the other person and more focused on the other person and how do they feel and what do they want. And it stems from the way you were raised when you were a child, worrying about how your parents are because maybe they're gonna explode or they're gonna be depressed and you don't know how to help them, and so you're trying to figure out how to save someone all the time.
That is a huge thing, I think, because I definitely, especially in the last 2. Well, the first one, it was more like, how can I make this person love me more? If I could just change this, if I could just do this, then they might just love me or accept me as I am. And then, and then in my second relationship, it was how can I sort of change this person and mold them into what I want them to be. And I found myself kind of doing that again with another person. And then I sort of get this brokenhearted, I'm not good enough, I'm not attractive enough, I'm not enough.
Yeah. And there is a hormonal, biological component to a relationship, too. I mean, you are wanting that person to want you, but it's also you are bonded and connected with the person through orgasm and through sex. So it's like this double-edged sword, like you want the best for yourself, but you're kind of addicted, hormonally addicted to the person.
Well, and that kind of leads into the other topic that we wanted to cover is the friends with benefits topic, and a lot of things that, or I'm too much, Rachel, is really this idea that we can just have sex with somebody, with our best friend, and have that just stay in the friend zone. For me personally, I tried to do that with my last sort of dance that I've been doing with this person that I care deeply about, and there was just no way for me to keep my feelings sort of surface.
So that's another topic, is how to have an interdependent relationship that is, meaningful in this new age day of poly, where everyone's polyamorous and there is this independent air The opposite of codependency is independence, but where does that bring in another person as far as an interdependent relationship? Codependent is I care more about you. Independent is I really care about myself and how I feel. But then interdependent is when you go a step above and I care about myself and how do you feel as well and how can we be with each other. So
yeah, David Data talks about that in The Way of the Superior Man is really the 3 stages of a relationship, which is exactly what you said. It's the sort of I need you is your first stage. Then the second stage is I don't really need anyone. And then the third stage is we are both whole and complete and we come together to merge to, create even more of an amazing entity.
Yeah. Yep.
So
it reminds me of like a giant, like 2 trees that grow together as they get older, and they're like these huge, massive trunk of they're 2 trees, but they're blended and merged into one. And that's my ideal relationship.
I think that's a lot of women's ideal relationship, and I would love to have a conversation if anyone knows any female who's in a very happy polyamorous relationship, because I admire the aspect of like removing jealousy and attachment and fear and doubt and worry and the idea that you own somebody.
Right.
But I don't find, or at least for me personally, from what I've observed, I don't see a lot of people going deep with one person.
Right.
And it seems more like a way to just spread yourself thin as far as you can so that you don't really have to be vulnerable with one person in the fear that you might lose something. Because I think that's what we all fear in a lot of our relationships, is that we might lose this person.
Yeah, well, you don't have to worry about that if you have this person and that person and that person and that person.
No, because there's always someone else.
Yeah, exactly. And so you never really have to work hard or change parts of yourself to, in a good way, not change yourself in a bad way, but change yourself in a healthy way to be more caring and loving in a committed relationship. I'm in the same boat. I have no clue how people can have more than one person in an intimate relationship in their lives. I mean, I have friends, I have people that I'm intimate with in other ways, but how do you have friends with benefits, essentially? Multiple friends with benefits is what poly seems like it kind of is. Like,
I don't know. I honestly don't know, and I honestly would like to get a guy's perspective too.
Anything.
So if anybody wants to jump on, we might add a guy later on too. So if somebody wants to raise their hand, we might add you to our conversation if you want to add a third perspective here.
That would be great.
But that's actually, you were talking about there are 12 things. What was it that make up? Well, actually, and another thing I wanted to cover too, while we're still talking about sex and all of that, is I think sex for men versus women is different.
Is a really topic,
when a woman has sex with a man, she, at least I definitely do, just become immediately connected to that person. And I don't continue to have sex with somebody unless I actually truly value them as a person and really enjoy who they are. I've just never seen it being sustainable with those who I know have been in those relationships. Yeah, me either.
Well, but someone was making the argument that monogamy isn't sustainable either, because look at how many of them fail.
It's true.
But we'll get to it later. How you can prevent failure is by starting right off in the beginning, just like planting a plant. I'm doing all these plant analogies, but like, you put the seed in good soil. You don't put it in crap dirt and hope that it's going to come up. It's going to fail if you're not going to take care of it in the beginning. So,
right.
But there's nothing wrong with you because you're bonded to a man through orgasm. That is actually how we're made. I'm reading this book called Vagina by Naomi Watts, and it's an amazing book. It's so good. Oh my God. Just like the first few chapters talks about the orgasm link and how all of these nerves are going to different parts of our vagina, and none of us are made the same. So that's a whole other topic, but it's innervated differently than men, and it is linked to our brain actually. So when we have an orgasm, it does something to our brain. I mean, yeah, it releases hormones, dopamine, and feel-good things, but it's also changing our brain to be more connected, more feeling open, this expansiveness, kind of like being like one with the universe, or kind of a transcendental experience where men don't necessarily have that same experience. Theirs is more goal-oriented and you know, not saying all men don't have the transcendental experience, but it's fascinating to think that women actually have a biological response going on when they make love, whereas a man isn't. So it's going to be easier for a man to be poly and be in a friends with benefits situation, where it's not going to be easy for us because we're fighting against biology. Our bodies are wired that way.
That's interesting, because I'd wonder have you ever heard of I think it's Sex at Dawn or something like that. I forget what his name is, but he basically talks about how biologically humans are not designed to be monogamous. I mean, we're very closely related to the bonobo, which is like it's a ape of some sort, and we are most linked to them in terms of the way that we interact socially, and they are very like, they share their partners.
Whoa.
So
interesting.
I don't know, and we can do more research on this and do another conversation later, and especially after we get some feedback from other people's perspectives here. But yeah, I don't know. I think it varies from person to person. But I also think that when you come into a relationship with two people who are whole, I think the reason monogamy often doesn't work for a lot of people is because you don't have two whole humans coming together. You have pieces of people coming together who have a lot of brokenness, and they're hoping that the other person somehow fills their cup and makes them whole.
Right.
And no one is ever going to meet your expectations.
No, not at all. But what if we're trying to be whole and we still want an orgasm that is going to bring this surge of creativity and transcendental wisdom that has been bestowed upon us as women? You know, what do you do? There's only so much that masturbation can do. I mean, really.
Well, so you're familiar with Kim Anami? I think I sent you some of her stuff. Kim Anami is the Kung Fu vagina lady. She's all about master. Kung Fu is to master something, and so she's all about mastering your vagina. And to do that, you need to build the floor, your pelvic floor, and all this stuff. So she actually lifts things with the jade egg. She lifts things with her vagina.
Wow.
And so she says, every woman can have squirting orgasms. Every woman can have cervical orgasms, which I don't know that I've personally had one.
It's hard to tell.
It's hard to tell. Because it's like supposed to be like the most awe-inspiring feeling that you have.
I think I've had one.
Oh, good.
I think I have. They're rare though, and it's not always, able to happen.
Well, because a woman has to fully, completely surrender to her partner.
Which means you have to have a committed relationship.
You have to completely trust that person and feel safe. Yeah, for sure. And so she is all about teaching women how to master that, but also how to also teaching men how to fully connect with their partner. Because I think a lot of people have sex, or excuse my French, they fuck.
Yeah.
But they don't really deeply connect on a passionate level. And so, of course, you're going to be seeking, another experience, something more exciting somewhere else, because you're not really having a deep, intimate sexual connection with that person. And she talks about, too, if you're inviting a third person into your bedroom, it's because there is something not in alignment in your relationship that you think you need entertainment to bring somebody else in. So that's just her perspective. And this is what she does. She's a professional. She teaches people how to build better relationships and how to like fully embrace their sexuality, because it is your power source.
Yeah. And what was her name again?
Kiminami.
Kiminami, that's right. And she does the kung fu.
She's the kung fu vagina lady. I just purchased. I bought some jade eggs, and yeah, I'm gonna start my practice. It's a practice. It's like a yoga practice, you know.
Yeah.
And because really, especially for women, it's your way of manifesting. She talks about, you know, if you are fully in connection with your orgasms, you are able to align everything in your life, your health, your wealth, your freedom, your happiness, you know, things just fall into place for you because you're in alignment with self.
Yes. And that's what this book is about, vagina. She's talking about how amazing the orgasm is and how it's not just an orgasm. It is like this, like you said, awe-inspiring, life-changing thing when you have a real passionate lover that is just committed to you and loves you and wants to go deeply with you. Yeah.
Well, and I also too want to make a point that this isn't like holding men responsible for our orgasms by any means. I mean, this is a two, you know, this is a two.
But they are the 50% of it.
Well, yeah, there's 50%, but there is also, you know, your ability to control your own orgasms, or I don't want to say control, but to really, you know, manifest your own orgasms.
Kung Fu style, yeah, Jonathan.
I will definitely post some links below to some of the stuff that we're talking about.
So this brings me to emotionally unavailable men. And some dating tips of how you can figure out if the guy you're interested in, or female, I mean,
I think there's a lot of emotionally unavailable people, because in all honesty, I had to look at my recent fling or relationship or whatever you want to label it as with this human that I really love, and I kept saying, you know, he's emotionally unavailable to me, but I had to really reflect and go, wait a minute, am I really emotionally available to him? Because I think a lot of us, we grow up with a lot of blockages. Because I was really detached from my own sexuality, I feel like, because I grew up in a Christian home, and, you know, you sort of feel shame surrounding that. And so for me right now, I'm working a lot on just like focusing on myself and developing all those areas so that when I do go into a healthy relationship, I'm able to fully surrender and give myself to this person. So yeah, so there's a question then, you're attracting emotionally unavailable people, then that must be a reflection. Because it's kind of a reflection, yeah.
So for me, advice on dating is don't do it until you're ready. Like, I'm not on Tinder or any of these things because I'm not ready for a relationship. I'm not ready for committed. I just know that I need to work on myself until I am a whole feeling person, like basically to the point where I know I don't need anybody to feel good.
Right.
And I am so committed to making myself better and doing my thing.
Yeah.
The person that comes in is just going to fit right on that train and be like, oh, hello, hey.
Right.
And it's never even going to skip a beat. It's just going to be like, oh, yeah, you just fit right into this process. You know, you're not going to have to make big alterations.
Yeah, you're not going to have to make me happy.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
That was what, I think I just posted something like that the other day from Byron Katie, is if I had one prayer, it would be, God, spare me the desire for love, appreciation, and something else. But, you know, you don't need anyone for those things, because you are those things. And that's also kind of like the 4 agreements, you know, don't take anything personally. And that includes the good things, too. When somebody says something bad about you or somebody says something good about you, you don't need any of those things, because you sit firm in who you are, and you are more than enough for you.
Mm-hmm. So what's your advice then about dating?
My advice about dating?
Yeah. Don't do it.
Don't do it. Honestly, dating, I've never really done dating, because I didn't have a boyfriend until I was 18, if you can believe that. And my boyfriend was my like best friend in high school. So when we found out we liked each other, it was kind of like, it felt awkward at first. Mm-hmm. He was the first person I kissed, the first person I had sex with. He was my person for the first 6 years of my life, on and off. And he's also the one who ended up horribly abusing me physically and mentally, and he didn't start out that way. And so then after that relationship ended with me nearly dying and ending up in the hospital, I was like lost and didn't know what to do. I thought my life was over. And then I think I had 9 months in between my next relationship, and I slept with like a handful of people because I thought, oh, what am I going to do? Stop having sex? No. But all of the times that I had sex, it was drinking alcohol. You know, I couldn't, because I can't really bring myself to have sex with somebody unless I'm really into them or drinking alcohol.
Right.
You know? And it's been a rarity to find somebody I'm really into. So I've not really been single, and I've never really done the dating thing. And now I am kind of like...
So what do we do if we want sex and we are not ready to be in a committed relationship?
Right now, honestly, I'd say pleasure yourself, and really not just pleasure yourself, but you should find... I got a course called Orgasmic Manifesting. Yes, there are courses like that out there. I'm sure they're for men too, but I think it's geared towards women mostly. But yeah, really just learning how to connect with yourself first before you expect somebody else to provide your pleasure for you. Yeah. And with doing that, you know, I mean, right now we're both doing Bikram yoga. I'm doing a 60-day challenge.
2 days.
And I mean, these things really, like, they bring you...
Go out, have fun, and meet new people, Debbie.
Oh, for sure. I'm always doing that.
Absolutely. But what if you want to sleep with them? and it's just... It would be weird.
Well, I don't know. For me,
Does
like...
it even work?
A friend recommended that I just go on this Bumble app, because I didn't really want to do the Tinder thing. Because on Bumble, you can network too. So I'm on there for networking, and then I got onto the dating part, but I just put don't know what I'm looking for because I don't know what I'm looking for, and I'm not really looking for anything necessarily because I don't want to go out there and look for this person. I kind of think the universe will just spontaneously make it happen, whether it's through a dating app or not, but I don't want to be constantly focused on it. And I think that, you know, that happens with anything that you're trying to manifest in your life is like, you want to have a broad vision for what you want in your life and what you'd like to attract, but you don't want to be like constantly focusing on it, because when you do that, you're kind of focusing on the lack of having it, you know, it's not being
like
present.
oil to water.
Right.
Pushing it away.
So yeah, but definitely taking the steps to kind of put yourself out there a little bit, I think, is definitely the key while you're focused on working on yourself.
Right.
And embracing yourself. I don't really like the word working on yourself. Embracing who you are and really coming into alignment with who you are. So
orgasms increase your creativity and your confidence.
That's what I heard, and yeah, well, the course definitely goes over that.
So you're saying that I could do that for myself before I meet a mate?
Oh yeah.
Wow. So we have a part 2.
Right?
You need to make a series. I agree! We need to make a series on this. Because I'm saying, like, there's so much to talk about. Okay.
Well, yeah, so you were going to go over the 12 things.
I wanted to go over the 12 things. So if you are finally in a place of independence, you're feeling strong within yourself, ready to go out and meet people, there are 12 things by this really amazing author. Her name is Clarissa Pinkola Estes. She's written Women Who Run with Wolves, which is a really popular one. And the book, I read that one. And I also read How to Love a Woman. That was a really amazing book.
Nice.
And she kind of brings in these old stories about, like Inuit stories that were passed down about relationships and about how to be with the other sex. Like she talked about a bone woman, you know, like if she's not being loved and nurtured in a way that you know, feeds her, she turns into like a woman of bones.
Oh, yeah.
So the man's love actually brings flesh to her body.
Wow.
Yeah, and her love for him, her singing and loving him, brings, you know, milk to her breasts and like all these things, you know. So anyway, very interesting. But one of her paraphrase quotes, which I found really interesting, is to live a life without the opportunity and the bounty of lifelong relationship should send a shudder down the spine. From the idea that someone will be there by your side for the rest of your life. And I think that is the most profound thing. Like, some people think, oh God, to be in a relationship for the rest of my life sends a shudder down your spine because you're afraid of that.
Yeah.
Of maybe the person will be boring or it'll be no fun. But it should send a shudder down your spine because there will be someone that'll be by your side for the rest of your life.
Right. Well, and I think too, a lot of people get caught in this, like, when you first meet, the relationship is amazing and the sex is amazing. I mean, my idea of a great relationship is that, yes, you know, when you meet that somebody, it's beautiful and it's awe-inspiring, but ultimately, like, your sex with that person should get better and better. Your communication should get better. Like, all of these things should grow and add and build and build and build, not diminish. You know, and I think that's most people's fear, is that it starts off with all these fireworks and then all of a sudden it just keeps getting chipped away.
Okay, so this is really great a segue into the 12 relationship qualities that she talks about in order to be sure that you're not going to have one of these relationships that gets chipped away or is one of the 50% that fails. And how can we make monogamy work? I know it can. So the first one, and I think is probably a really easy one to find off right off the bat, is if the person has similar values to you and if they have a good character. You know, you're not going to commit to someone that thinks it's okay to dine and ditch or to or talks a lot of shit about people, or I don't know. You know, you can kind of tell right off the bat, like, well, how they treat other people on the date. You know, if they treat their waitress with respect or like, the second one is they like to learn. So they are interested in learning about you. They want to learn about what you like in the bedroom. They want to learn about what your favorite food is. They also want to learn new ways of being in a relationship, like having better communication techniques or just the way you like things, that kind of thing. Number 3 is they're both strong and sensitive, and she used kind of a tree analogy that the root, the trunk is really strong, but the branches sway, so they're both strong and sensitive to your needs. Number 4 is they have compassion if you're hurt. I think this one's really important because a narcissist doesn't give a shit if you're hurt. They don't. They'll actually make it about themselves. So, you know, if they've hurt you, if someone that hurts you, they should care that they hurt you. Right. That's really important. Number 5, they have an inner life that is separate but also merged with yours. And I think this one kind of gets funky wonky in monogamy, which is probably why poly people like bolt. Right. Because you start to do everything together and everything is with each other, and before you know it, you're constantly attached to it. You have no inner life. So you have an inner life, but you also sometimes merge. Like, for instance, we do Bikram yoga, and maybe our partner does football. I don't know. Right. And every now and then, maybe we'll go play football with him, and every now and then he'll come to yoga. Right. You know, you're kind of doing, but you'll have similar passions, and that's number 6. So most of your passions are going to be the same. You know, we both love wine, and so we love wine tours or something. I don't know. We both love nature, so we want to backpack and hike as much as possible. Right. We both want to travel. Like, these things are really important. Yeah, well, especially I think in terms of like, if like for me, I'm really into wellness. Like, it's really important to me that, you know, the person I'm with doesn't have to be, you know, into Bikram yoga because I just got into it, but it would definitely be beneficial if they ate a really healthy diet, you know, and they exercise. They like being fit and they like being active. Right. So those are the kinds of things I think are very important. Very important, because they're not going to change. You're not going to change either. Not very much, at least. Which is something I learned. You cannot change anyone. They will not change. Doesn't matter how hard you try. Number 7 is that this person will have similar life values. For instance, you want kids, they want kids. Well, I want 2 kids, I want 2 kids as well. It's not going to work if someone wants kids, the other person doesn't. Right. It's just you're never going to be happy. Or the other person wants to move halfway across the world, you can't do that. You're never going to be able to have a real relationship. So those things should be figured out right away. first date. No, I'm kidding.
Well,
Might as well.
Actually, when I first met you though, you were kind of like interested in somebody, and I kind of told you to like
figure that shit out.
Be upfront about it and
Yeah.
like say, hey, I really like you. You know what's going on here, and you're like, no, I kind of want to just like keep it casual and. Blah, 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 blah. And then like I don't know, it was like 2 days later you're like, so I sent him this blah blah, blah and crickets. But I don't know, for me personally, I would rather know, are you into me or not? Because I don't have time to waste time, you know?
And that would be back to similar values would be the same thing. You're poly, I'm mono. We're not going to be able to blend. Like,
right.
And I think if I had really paid attention to number 7, I would have known right away that this person is, like, not good for me at all. Because, like, there was just too many opposite things. Like,
right.
The trajectory of our lives were not ever going to match up.
Right.
You know, and if that's the point of number 7. Like, if your trajectory is never going to match up with a person...
Yeah, and I mean, I guess it really depends on what you're looking for. If you're looking for a fling or something to have fun with, then sure, by all means. But honestly, I don't know a lot of women in their 30s who are looking for flings. I mean, I'm not really looking for a fling. I've tried having flings, and
I kind of am.
Flinging is just not flinging is not my thing.
I kind of am. Well, just because I know I'm not ready to have the time to commit to a healthy relationship. I don't have the time for that. So number 8 is they give equal time or they will meet in the middle. Like, you cannot have one person who is always willing to go and do things and go out of the way, and the other person is like, I'm doing my own thing.
Right.
So they want to give equal time. Number 9 is they can laugh off an argument or they can wait until it cools off, and this one's really important.
That's very important for me.
Yes, you know that from experience. That.
Well, I used to get really angry because my ex, we were together almost 8 years, and he would just shut off, like, completely. Which, in all honesty, I guess that was his way of sort of calming it down, but it just made me freaking angry. Because I wanted to deal with it right now.
Right.
And... I mean, I've gotten well past the anger stage, so I don't really respond to things like that anymore, but it still bothers me if somebody's not willing to, like, talk it out, and because there's no reason to get upset or angry. You can still have an amicable discussion about, hey, why are we not really agreeing about this?
Yeah. Exactly. That's exactly what it is. Like, and if any of these they don't know how to do, goes back to number 2, the learner. If they're able to learn how to be someone that can cool off. If they're able to learn how to come back and talk and learn how you want to communicate and when you're upset, or, you know what I mean? Right.
Well, and it even goes to, there's a book called The 5 Love Languages. It's like, what is your partner's love language? Like, you really need to know totally that. Different. Do they like gifts? Do they like words of affirmations? You know, all these different things.
Yeah.
There's a lot that goes into knowing somebody and really wanting to be present with them.
Yeah. Number 10. This is most important for me, is they have no faults that you cannot overlook. So for instance, again, this other guy that I was like, oh, I kind of like him, partier, no judgment, like whatever, like party, do whatever you want, but I'm not looking for someone that parties.
Right.
I'm not looking for someone that drinks. I want someone that is like home at 9 p.m. and like, doing the kid home life.
Right.
I got kids, so also no faults that can be overlooked. That's not just like drinking and doing too many drugs and things like that. It's also they're not annoying to you, like like if there's some traits that are just, oh my god,
that you'll never be able to get over.
Every morning he wakes up and just says, that's never gonna change. They're not gonna be able to change who they are.
Well, for me with my ex, it was like he just doesn't really care about taking a shower that much, and it was just like, I like to take a shower like twice a day usually. So that was a big deal for me, and I used to be like, try to like coax him to do that, but he doesn't like to do that, and you know what, that's okay.
If you would have focused on that right in the beginning, you would have saved yourself a lot of problems. Like, next, that one doesn't work. 11, a friend that caters to you regularly. I think that is so important because I want my lover to be my best friend, and my best friend cares about me, and you know, if I want pizza tonight, you know, they're gonna be like, okay, fine, let's get you pizza tonight, you know, and you're gonna do the same, like, for them.
Yeah, I could see
to a
that.
degree, you're not gonna
Yeah,
you're not gonna lose your boundaries,
right.
You know, if it's not something that's going to hurt your boundaries, you're gonna cater to
Well,
the
and
person.
hopefully you can be careful about when you decide to make sure.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
don't
This
know.
doesn't say
'Cause
cater
that's,
always. It says regularly.
Right. Okay,
Yeah.
yeah. No, I can agree with that.
Okay. And the last one, which is, I think, almost the most important one, is makes my life bigger. This person comes into my life and they add a degree of amazingness, not takes it down to this dysfunctional level.
Yeah, they shouldn't be diminishing who you
yeah,
are.
right, yeah. Now I'm not doing yoga, and now I'm doing this less, and doing this less, because they're not making time for me, so I can make time for them, and like, before you know it, your whole life has changed.
Right. Well, and honestly, I take full responsibility when that happens, is because I'm like, what can I do for this person?
Exactly.
What can I do? What can I do? And then all of a sudden I realize I have lost all the things that I'm passionate about, you know, networking with people and doing Facebook Lives and all of these, my business and everything like that. And then somehow I end up, I'm just completely empty. And then I'm like, oh, this person's not giving me anything. But the reality of it is I'm supposed to be giving to myself, but I just gave everything to this person and now I'm upset at this person.
Yeah.
So,
but if it's the right person, though, too, they're going to make sure that you aren't giving up your things that you're passionate about.
Right.
Because they're going to see that, oh, maybe you have a tendency to be a little bit codependent.
Yeah. Like, hey, Jessica,
sure, hey,
what's going on here?
Yeah, that's like, you're being a little bit codependent right now, you know? Like, and that's okay for them to call you out on it or to remind you that you have a life that's, you know, hey, I got you a really cool stool so you can set up and have your lives, you know?
Right.
And I'm going to leave the house at 9 so that you have the time to do it.
Right.
Like, that is someone...
And I'm not gonna make fun, and I'm not gonna make fun of you when you decide to do them.
Yeah. Oh my God. That's complete opposite of number 12. So that was the 12 steps, or the 12 relationship qualities.
The 12 steps.
The 12 steps.
Alcoholics Anonymous.
Or Al-Anon.
Al-Anon?
Al-Anon is for codependence.
Oh my God. Holy shit.
Codependence of alcoholics. Yeah. They have 12 steps for people like us too.
Oh, they do. Oh man.
Well, this has been so much fun.
It has been so much fun. Does anyone have any specific questions for us that we can answer?
Or any advice?
Or any advice that you want to give? Are there any narcissists or codependents out there that want to relate?
They already dropped off.
Oh, and yeah, just to recap with, you know, this isn't about like those narcissists over there and us codependents over here. This is really a conversation about all of us having narcissistic and codependent habits or tendencies, which I think stems from, if anybody watches Matt Kahn, it stems from the 4 core wounds of the ego, which are abuse, neglect, codependency, and loss. And we're all healing from these wounds. We might not all have all 4 of those wounds. I definitely am healing from abuse, codependency, loss. I lost my father. And what was the other one? Neglect. I don't know that I had a lot of... yes, I definitely feel that there was neglect in the sense that I didn't really get some of the, you know, hey, Jessica, let's really, like, love on you. Like, love yourself. I think so many of us are lacking in self-love because a lot of our parents didn't fully love themselves either. So we're kind of just following the same model. And so this isn't about, you know, blaming or shaming. This is about taking full responsibility, but, you know, owning that we all have wounds that we need to heal from. And we're looking for people who actively want to heal their with us, heal their wounds with us, you know.
Not create more damage.
Yeah, and not, you know, go, you're responsible for this, it's your fault, you know.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the gist of what we wanted to cover, right?
Yeah. I think so.
And we can have another conversation again soon. And for anyone out there, I love having conversations with people, and I think that the world is hungry for beautiful conversations that are authentic and real and vulnerable.
Yeah.
And if anyone would like to have a conversation with me about any topic of your choice, please reach out to me, send me a private message, and let me know. So, anything else?
No, thank you. Nice meeting you all.
Thank you all for joining us. Please leave any comments or questions below, and looking forward to chatting with you all soon. Bikram Yoga, day 7 tomorrow. What's your day tomorrow? You're on day way ahead of me.
Well, I've done 19 out of 25.
Damn, girl. And she's done 2 days in a row. For those of you who don't know, Bikram Yoga, I knew nothing about it. It's an hour and a half and 110 degrees. 26. Humid. Yeah, 20. And it honestly, I don't know. It doesn't smell very good because it's a bunch of sweaty bodies. But, oh my gosh.
It's kind of like being in hell.
But it brings you to the most beautiful place, though, after you get through it.
Yeah.
And so we'll see you all again soon. Thank you all for watching.
Mwah.
Have a good night.